Alright, now let's look at this question. We will look at the statements. So these are the statements. Before moving on to the statements, I'll let you pause the video so that you can have a look at the table, because that is what is required to answer the statements. So if we read statement 1, statement 1 says DVM10 can connect to TCP port 1433 on AVM7. So if we look at the diagram here, the NSG app permits inbound TCP 1433 to AVM7 from any source, and NSGs doesn't restrict outbound traffic from DVM10. Looks good. So we can mark this as yes. Now let's move to the second statement. It says AVM7 can connect to TCP port 1433 on DVM. So again, if we go back, NSG app we know will allow the traffic, and NSG DB DB's deny rule applies only to inbound traffic to DVM12, not the outbound from it. So again, the answer is yes. Now let's move to the third statement. It says DVM10 can connect to TCP port 1433 on DVM12. Let's go back to the diagram. We have the DVM12 here. So NSG DB blocks inbound TCP 1433 to DVM12 from the DVM10 due to a deny rule targeting traffic from DVM12. Therefore, here the answer is no. We'll log this as the final answers. Alright, now let's look at this question. We'll look at the statements first. After reading the statements, let's go back to the question. Please feel free to pause this video and read the question. Let's now go back. So here we go with the statement 1. It says the DNS A record for AVM5 is added to cloudguruamit.com and has the IP address 131.107.50 and 20. If we go back here, we can see the A record for Cloud Guru Amit points to the public IP, but it's not assigned to AVM5. Hence the answer is no for this. Now let's move to the second statement. Second statement says the DNS A record for AVM5 is added to internal tech and has the IP address 10.0.1.4. Let's go back to the box. Here we have the A record for the AVM5 was explicitly added to the private DNS zone internal.tech, which is a private IP, we can see. So therefore the answer is yes this time. Now let's move to the third statement. It says the DNS record for AVM6 is added to internal.tech and has IP address 10.0.1. Now let's go back to AVM6. So we have a record for AVM6 was added to the internal tech with its correct private IP. So here if you look, it is again in the private DNS zone. So therefore the answer is again yes. So we'll log this as our final answers. Alright, now let's look at this question. We'll see the statements here. Here goes the statements. Please feel free to pause this video. I'll go back to the question. Please go through this. I'll now go back to the statement. Statement 1 says from VM5 server 3.cloudguruamit.com resolves to 131.107.33. So if we look here in the table, VNet 5 isn't linked to a DNS zone containing server 3. If we look here as well. So therefore the resolution will fail The answer will be no. Now let's move to the second statement. It says from VM6 server 3.cloudguruamit.com resolves to 131.107.3.3. So if you look, VM6 uses custom DNS, that is 192.168.0.5, which won't resolve Azure private DNS zones unless that DNS server is manually configured to do so. So looks good. So this the answer is yes. And now we'll move to the third statement, which is the from VM7 server 4.cloudguruamit.com resolves to 131.107.2.4. VNet 7, if we now look, because we are focused on VM7, so we need to focus on VNet 7. Why? Because if we look here in the diagram, VM7 virtual network VNet 7 is there. So let's go back here, and here we have the VNet 7. Again, if we look, VNet 7 isn't linked to the zone and has the custom DNS server which lacks the zone access. So here the answer is no, because the resolution will fail. So we'll log this as our final answers. Alright, now this looks interesting. These are the statements. We'll go one step back. Please feel free to pause this video and read the question here. We'll go back to statement 1. It says from the internet you can connect to VM8 by using remote desktop. Let's go back to the diagram. So VM8 has default rules which denies any port open for inbound rules. So therefore the answer is no. Now let's move to the second statement. It says from the internet you can connect to VM9 by using remote desktop. Now let's go back to the box, and VM9 has a custom rule allowing RDP port. Therefore the answer is yes this time. Now let's move to the third and the last statement. It says from VM8 you can connect to VM9 by using a remote desktop. Let's go back to the diagram. VM8 and VM9 uses the same VNet. If we look, that is, if we focus on the subnet part, subnet 3 and 4, and here subnet 3 and 4 are in the same VNet, that is VNet 2. Since both are in the same VNet, by default communications are allowed. Therefore the answer is yes. We'll log this as our final answers. Alright, we have another brainstorming question here now. Let's focus on the statements. So please feel free to pause this video, because this is going to be a brainstorming question. So I'll give you some time to have a look at the question and pause the video. Now let's tackle the statements. Statement 1 says server 5 resolves host 4 cloudguruamit.com to the IP address 131.107.50.50. Server 5, let's see in the diagram. So server 5 has no host, host 4 cloudguruamit.com record for that is 131.107.50.50. It would have worked if VNet 3 had a virtual network link to the private zone cloudguruamit. So therefore for now the answer is no. Now let's move to option statement 2. It says server 5 resolves amitphysique.com to 131.107.10.15. Let's go back where server. Let's look at server 5. Server 5, if we look, has amitphysique.com record. If we go here, if we look focus here, server 5 has amitphysique.com record for 131.107.10.15. The answer is therefore yes again. Now let's go back to the statement 3. Statement 3 says server 6 resolves host 104.cloudguruamid.com to 131.107.50.50. Server 6 cannot resolve host 4 cloudguruamid.com because its DNS lacks virtual network link to private zone in VNet 4. Therefore, the answer is no. We'll log these as our final answers. Alright, this looks interesting. So, previous 5 questions, you have tackled the questions without my tricks. Now I'll provide my tricks here, because some people might not find the tricks useful and some people might find it the trick as a cheat code to get the answers quickly. So I'll provide both the versions. So first 5 questions you have seen, I haven't provided any cheat code. It might be brainstorming for you as well. So now it's for you to decide whether if I provide the cheat codes it's easy or not. So here is the question. I'll give you some time. You can pause the video. Now I'll provide the cheat code. The cheat code is the trick to answer this question is to focus on the auto registration column and the name corresponding. So I hope it will be a big hint for you now. Statement 1 says you can enable auto registration for link 5. If you focus on link 5 now, there is no registration zone for VNet 7. So we can enable it as it's currently disabled. So the answer is yes. Now let's move to statement 2. You can add a virtual network link for VNet 6 to zone9.com. So now let's focus on the box. So a virtual network can have multiple resolution zones associated to it. Therefore, the answer is yes. Let's move to the last statement. It says you can add a virtual network link for VNet 7 to zone7.com and enable auto registration. So if you focus on VNet 7, which is mentioned here, there is no registration for VNet 7, right? So therefore the answer is again yes. So we'll log this as our final answers, and please do let me know if you are finding the cheat code version easier to tackle this type of question or without the cheat code version. All right, now we have another question here. So I'll flash you once again the question. Please feel free to pause this video. And the trick to answer this question is to focus on the availability column, set column, which is something here, and the corresponding virtual machine name column. So you got to focus on this as well as this to get the answers easily and quickly. Now statement 1 says LB2 can balance the traffic between NVM1 and NVM2, that is the two virtual machines. Now let's go back here. So if you focus here, NVM1 and NVM2 are in the same availability set, that is if you look AS1, right? Both NVM1 and 2, and the therefore the answer is yes for this. Now let's move to statement 2. It says LB2 can balance the traffic between NVM3 and NVM4. Let's go back. NVM3 and 4 will focus now. Here goes NVM3 and NVM4. So NVM 3 and 4, if you look, are like both are in the not a part of the same availability set. It is mentioned not applicable, right? So these are not part of any availability set or scale set. Therefore the answer is no. Now let's move to the last statement. It says LB2 can balance the traffic between NVM5 and NVM6. Let's go back to NVM5 and NVM6 now. So here it says NVM5 and NVM6. So again, both VMs are not a part of any availability set or scale set, just like previous statement we have rejected, NVM3 and NVM4, same reason, right? So the overall trick is to focus on the, as mentioned, the ability sets and the corresponding name, whether they belong in the same and the virtual machines belong to the same ability set or not. So here we go, another no for this, just like the same reason for statement 2, statement 3 also goes. So we'll log this as our final answers. All right, now we have another interesting question. I'll flash you the question. Please feel free to read the statements and the box as well. So here I'll give you the trick. To answer this question, you need to focus on the location. Now let's go back to the statement. Statement 1 says you can move storage account 2 to RG4. Just note storage account 2 and RG4. I'll go back here. Storage account 2, if you look, is in West US region, whereas RG4, if you look, is in the East US region. We cannot change the region of the storage account. We need to recreate the storage account in the new region. Therefore, the answer is no. Now let's move on to the second statement. It says you can move NIC4 to RG4. Let's locate where is NIC4 now. NIC4, and there we go. NIC4 connects to the VNet 2. So let's look at where is VNet 2 now. VNet 2 is in West US, and again we have RG4. RG4 is in the East US region. Since East US and West US, the VNet 2 are in a different region, therefore again the answer is no. Now let's move to the third statement. It says if you move IP6 to RG3, the location of IP6 will change. Now let's look at where IP6 is. IP6, it's mentioned clearly that it is in the East US location, and RG3, let's find it out here. If you look, it's in different, that is West US, right? Since and hence the location of IP6 will change, right? Because we are moving from East US to West. So is there any location change? Yes, there is a location change, right? So the answer is yes. We'll mark as yes. Let's log this as our final answers. All right, now let's tackle this question. This I won't provide cheat code. You need to find it out on your own, and feel free to pause this video. So let's look at statement 1. Statement 1 says app5 can communicate with VM8. So app5 is integrated with VNet 4, if you look, and VNet 4 is paired with VNet 5, which is which VM8 is connected to, if you look here. So web app 5 can communicate with VM8. So therefore the answer is yes. Now let's move to the second statement. It says NSG5 controls inbound traffic to web app 5. So NSG5, if we go back, is associated with subnet 5, if you look here, right? NSG5 is associated with subnet 5, not directly with web app 5. So it controls the inbound traffic to the subnet 5, not the web app 5. Therefore the answer is no. Let's move to the third statement. It says web app 6 can communicate with VM7. Web app 6 cannot communicate with VM7 because outbound traffic from an app service environment to paired VNet requires custom routing which is not configured by default if we look, right? Therefore, the answer is no. We'll log this as our final answers. Okay, so this is interesting. We have the entire question in the one page, so this should be easy for us to answer. So box statement 1 says F5 can be moved to RG7. So you might have guessed the answer. So RG7, if we look, has read only lock, which blocks all write operations including moving resources into it, right? So we cannot move resource into it. F5 is a resource, right? We cannot move. Answer is no, right? Just because we have read only. Option statement 2 says F5 can be moved to RG8. F5, if we focus, is in the West Europe region, and RG8 is in different region, that is East Europe. We can move app service resources to different Azure region. Therefore, the answer is yes. Please hold on for a while because I'll be showing you the proof in the official documentation shortly why the answer is yes. Now let's move to the third statement. It says F5 can be moved to RG9. RG9 is in the subscription 6. If you look here, subscription 6 contains the following, that is RG9. So RG9 is in subscription 6. Now let's focus on the F5. Where is F5 located? F5, if we look, RG6 includes, and where is RG6? RG6 in the subscription 5. So both are in different subscription in a nutshell. One is in subscription 5, another is in subscription 6. That is RG9 is in subscription 6 and F5 is in RG6, that is in subscription 5. So app service resources can be moved between resource groups or Azure subscriptions as well. So the answer is yes. Now if you're eager to find out why it is described in the official documentation. The article describes how to move app service resources to different region. Here are the criteria as well. There are some prerequisites for this question. It's all good. The green light we have. And for if you're curious to know about moving app resources to a new resource group or subscription, again we have the entire article here defined, which the basic criteria is to delete or upload TLS certificates here, which we don't have in the question if we look, right? So it's definitely a go. So the answer is yes. So we'll log this as our final answers. So please don't go away. Let's meet in next part of this series.